Bonjour and welcome to the sixth video of this GDL tutorial. In this video, we'll finish the 3D script. So now that we have finished the geometry here, we have seen in the last video that we had some quick issue here. Most importantly here with some z-fighting, because we had one geometry here that is not cutting through. It is simply a line to width, So what we need to do here is basically to make some cuts. So let's go back to the 3D script here. And here in our Prism script, we can see that we finished the script with -1, which indicate the end of a contour. But it doesn't necessarily indicate the end of the command, because after -1, if you have further coordinates, those coordinates will act as cuts. So here what we need to do basically is to add the proper coordinates below. So what we need to do here is simply add a comma to continue the command. And what we do here is simply add all the coordinates that we have in our legs. And you see how easy it becomes when we use this Prism command, which is the Poly2 version in 3D. So here I will copy paste this and copy paste that one here. And you can see here basically that I'm copying the exact same command. So the only thing that I will do here is that I will simply use the actual the actual 2D transformation here in order to position the cuts properly. So here I would be leg distance. This one will be A minus, sorry. This one will be A minus, minus, and B minus, like this, and finally this one will be leg distance, and this one will be minus leg distance. I need to make sure that I have commas at the end of all of my coordinates except the last one here. And I also need to not forget to add here a value to the number of nodes, because now we have 5 plus 4 by 2, so 8. And like this, we have our command that is complete. So here, what I did here, I'll do OK. And now you can see that here I have an actual cut. You do not really see it, but if I comment this geometry out, you can now see that my geometry is cut. And you obviously see that the top panel is not cut as well, because now I need to copy paste the same code here. So this will be solved in one of the next 2 videos, but for the moment we'll simply copy paste this for the top panel here. And now you see that we have cuts in both panels. So if I comment this one out, and then I here cancel this, and now we can see that everything looks proper here. So here our code is a bit messy. So what we'll do is simply put some separation in our code. So here we have something that is a bit more readable. So we basically split our code, and here we have the hotspots. Here we have the top geometry, and here we have the legs. I can also give some titles that way. Like this, it makes a bit more sense if I go back to my code in a couple of months. So here, like this, spots, and I can also do the same in 2D because this is a bit similar. So here, panel for this one, and legs for the last one. Like this. All good. So here I will also put a double space for this one, and this one. So like that I am consistent across the board. So now let's check our script. Everything is good. Let us save and see how it looks in our project. So now let's go back into our 3D, and now we have all our tables here that are properly done. I can resize them here. I can change the height here. I can obviously go into the object option and then change some information. I can change the surfaces, and for example put some black for the legs and some yellow for the paddles. All good. And for example I can also change the bottom panel height if I want to, like this, and add some panel thickness for example, and then put a bit more distance and have legs that are a bit less thick, like this, and it is working properly. So here we are almost done. The only thing that we need to do here, first we can delete this one here, and here is that we need to put here this what we call a dynamic hotspots, this purple hotspots here, because for the moment the only thing that we can do is resize the whole furniture, but we cannot do it with the bottom panel. So now let's do it. Let's go back into our 3D script. Let's put a new separation by copy pasting this one, and here I will put it dynamic hotspots. Yeah. So for a dynamic hotspot like this, you would need 3 hotspots really. The first one that would be needed is obviously the origin for the dynamism. For example, here, if I click on that hotspot, you can see that I have a yellow line that follows a dimension, but that yellow line starts somewhere, and it starts at the origin of the parameter. So my bottom panel height starts at 0, so I would need first hotspots here. Then I would need hotspots here that will be dynamic, that would follow here the parameter value that is associated to it, which is here bottom panel height, obviously. And then I will need a third hotspots that will be the opposite direction from the dynamic hotspot, the purple hotspot. The reason is that we need here a negative value in order to understand where we will go with this dynamic hotspot. So here, this third hotspot will simply allow us to put the direction in the axis of the dynamic hotspot. So here, that's what we'll do. So now what I will do is that we'll use this hotspot as a base here. When it comes to hotspots, what I didn't say thus far is that it's good for hotspots to have a unique identifier. It is good practice. It doesn't make any bugs in our code, but it is good practice to have this above all when you start using dynamic hotspots. So here we will create a unique identifier. Because it is for hotspot, we will name that identifier, for example, H for hotspots, ID, H ID, and then we will put, for example, 1. And what we need is simply have another argument here, which is HID. And then I can copy paste this one for all of my hotspots here. It's also good practice to do it in 2D as well. So I will do it now here, and then initialize this one as well. Let me check my script. Yes, I have an issue, obviously, because here it is a unique hotspot. But here you can see that the value of this hotspot is 1 for all of our hotspots. So I will need to increment it. So here, HID equal HID plus 1, simple as that. And then I will copy paste this part of my code here under all of our hotspots. Here, my script is all okay. And I will do this for my 3D script as well. Like that, I am really doing something that is good practice when it comes to GDM. My script is correct now. So here, we will do the same for this one as well. Sorry. This will be the HID. And then here. But here, when it comes to dynamic hotspots, we have more information that we can put into that comment. This here is really the minimum number of arguments. But if you put more, then you can create some dynamic hotspots. So here, the 5th argument is the parameter that is tied to this dynamic hotspot. So this one will be bottom panel height, like this. Then my hotspot need a code. And this code here are normalized. If I go here into my GDL reference guide and I look for graphical editing, here, the title, like this. You can see here that the command is there. And you can see that we have here brackets when it comes to those parameters, which means that they are optionals. You know, the unique ID is optional as well, but it is good practice to have it. And here you can see that we have the specific status code for our hotspots here. So now I have 1, 2, and 3, which is what we use for the base hotspots, the moving hotspot, and the reference hotspots. Yeah. So here we will put here, which is the base hotspots. We want our origin to be at this coordinate. Now I will here copy paste it 2 times. And for the second hotspots, it will be the moving hotspots. So here, this is code number 2 here. And the moving hotspots is obviously need a Z value that is equal to the bottom panel height, you know. So this is the value that we will give at Z, like this. And then for my third hotspot, it is the reference hotspots, the hotspots that is opposite to my dynamic hotspot. So here it will be opposite in Z, so it will be negative, so I will put -1. Here I could put -10 or -0.1, it doesn't really matter, -1 is enough. So now we have done this here. Let us check if all is good. It seems so. So let us save here. And then let us go back into our 3D, check our object. And now you can see that I have a dynamic hotspot. Let me just move it. And you can see that my bottom panel is moving accordingly. I will just modify something here. Is that, as you can see here, this is my default hotspot. I want my default placement hotspots to be at the middle. But you can see here that this is exactly the same coordinates here. So what we want to do here is hide this hotspot here. We have a specific status code that is 128, which allows me to hide this hotspot. Like that, I do not have two hotspots at the same coordinates. It is a bit more proper that way. Let me save, and it will not change my 3D. It is simply so my code is a bit better. And now we can see that everything is correct as we want it to be. So this is all when it comes to our 3D script. In the next video, we will look at the parameter scripts. See you on the next one.